Welcome to Business Spotlight. I'm Rob Andrew, and today I am delighted to be joined by Zoe Schaedel from Myla Health. Hi, Zoe.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for having me, Rob.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Zoe, probably the best place to start would be to tell us a little bit about your background, because I know you wear two hats, and to tell us a little bit about your business.
Sure. So my background is as a GP. So I've been a GP for about 17 years now, and always very sort of focused and specialised on women's health. And that sort of special interest really developed over the last kind of 6 to 8 years, where I've been doing lots more work in certain areas like the menopause. So I took on training to become a menopause specialist. And then for the last 18 months, I have co-directed, so I run it with my partner, Olivia, a clinic called Myla Health, which is a private women's health clinic.
I see. Excellent. So maybe expand a little bit in terms of your journey since setting up. What's it been like? What have your experiences been like?
Yeah, so actually, Olivia started something that was a clinic called Women's Health Sussex a few years ago. So she started a very small clinic, and she had one clinic a week where she would be seeing women mostly for menopause or perimenopause. And the demand just grew and grew. So she felt she needed to take on new doctors and new clinicians. And what we really felt was there was so much potential to do even more, to kind of really offer services for lots of different health problems. And so that's when I joined Olivia, so about 18 months ago. And then we knew that we didn't want to just stay in Sussex, so we needed to think about rebranding, changing our name. So what was Women's Health Sussex became. What we found is that, I mean, it has been a wonderful journey. So certainly where we've been based in Sussex, we've got 3 clinic locations that we work in. So out of private hospitals locally and another sort of clinic location. And it's been a really brilliant opportunity to offer really specialist, really great care to women. So sometimes women are struggling for lots of reasons. There's been lots of kind of inequalities in healthcare, and sometimes women struggle to get the kind of care that they want. And so it's just been a real privilege, really, to be able to offer longer appointments with a real specialist focus. So everybody that somebody would see within Myla Health has had lots of extra specialist training and is able to give really good advice and care. So and again, as the demand has increased, we've found people coming to visit us from all sorts of places, all sorts of locations, particularly from Kent. So people were driving to us from Kent. So we decided to expand. We now have 3 clinic locations in Kent as well. And the demand has been increasing in these 2 areas. We also, because we have some really excellent doctors who want to work with us, we've also managed to have a clinic based in Sheffield and one in Exeter. And it's really, I suppose, our focus, because you can imagine Olivia and I are doctors. We haven't had any training in business at all. This is a small business and we are essentially doing everything ourselves. And so it has been a real learning curve for us to do, all of the operational, finance, marketing, all these things that we never had to encounter before, and really learning about how to make it work. But also trying to make sure that what's special to us about Myla Health and the experience that we want women to have is the same everywhere, no matter which doctor they see or, in which location. We can kind of make sure that it's really excellent.
I mean, Zoe, it's fantastic in terms of what you're trying to achieve there with Olivia. Now, out of interest, in terms of your clients, are all individuals, or you also supporting businesses and going into businesses to support and do some training as well? How does it look?
Yeah, so it's probably about 50-50 now, actually. Okay. So as well as running individual appointments, offering clinical care, very early on, we really wanted to focus on the kind of business community. And part of the reason for that was just the people we were seeing in clinic were telling us about the issues they were having with work. It's a really big issue. People struggle a lot. So what we started to do was actually people invited us in first. So they said, well, could you come and do some talks for us? And so we developed a kind of training package, and we do talks on menopause, on other areas where health really interacts with work. So we do talks on sleep health, which is a special area of interest for me, and menopause and other women's health topics as well. And the more we have done, the more organisations have asked us back to do something else. And I suppose it's been really lovely for us because it really combines our interest with healthcare and with teaching. So we're quite experienced educators. We've done lots and lots of teaching, and it's trying to kind of translate that so it works for a business environment, and so that people in companies, you know, large or small, can really understand how important it is to take on, to understand why some of these health issues matter to their workforce, and that it's actually quite easy to do something about it, to make it really a supportive environment for people. So we do that more and more. We offer different sorts of training. So we do lots of talks where we go in and do kind of 1 hour talk, but we also offer some particular interventions like menopause champion training or line manager training, specifically around the menopause, so that companies can really upskill and build confidence, and they know they are supporting their staff really well.
That's excellent. So really, it's all about raising awareness. And okay, that's.
And I think reducing that stigma. So often it's so amazing because actually menopause has been in the media quite a lot, hasn't it? You know, it's having a bit of a moment, but still, when you speak to individual women, they still really struggle to raise it, or for it to be an issue at work. And often they do need a bit of extra support, but they're really worried that they're going to be looked down on, or, you know, it's an area of stigma and taboo.
Mhm.
And the more you kind of talk about it, and the more people understand what's going on, and actually, you know, there's easy ways to help, that you lessen that, and I think that makes a really big difference.
Yeah, exactly. The more we talk about it, the less the stigma will be.
Yeah.
Interesting though. So at the moment you are you're still practicing GP, that as well. You're balancing
Yes.
both.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I suppose with Myla and what you're trying to do there in terms of the support, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here. So there is a massive gap in the NHS in terms of that support for that menopause support. So is that changing, or you don't think that's ever going to be there in the NHS because it's not realistic? Or what is
I
what
think it is changing, actually. So I think
Okay,
it's a much more optimistic picture. And I
great.
suppose when Olivia and I decided we wanted to set up Myla Health, we had a bit of a mission that we wanted to help all women. So not just the ones that could afford to pay for Myla, which is, you know, we do have that extra time and that extra expertise, but we wanted to work out how can we actually improve things for everybody. So partly by doing Myla, by working in this way, we've also been able to do lots of training to the NHS as well. So both of us, we've done, you know, lots and lots of education in primary care across Sussex and in secondary care. So different hospital groups will invite us in to do talks on these topics. And so we feel as though we're helping to kind of raise the bar, raise the awareness and the understanding. And actually, I run an NHS menopause clinic in Brighton as well, and people refer patients to me when they need a bit of extra help. And I have to say, I think the quality of care has really, really improved. So people are getting much, much better care. And I think it's a very optimistic picture. And so both Olivia and I, we sit on the British Menopause Society's kind of medical advisory council. So we helped kind of to go some way to support education, training, guideline development, research, that sort of thing. And I do think it's really optimistic. There's been lots of women who've been really poorly served, and there's no doubt about that. And we still see people that have been given poor advice or who've been fobbed off. But I don't think that is the majority. I think actually the picture is improving.
Oh, excellent. I mean, that's great news. So you genuinely feel that the NHS is moving with the
Yes.
times in terms of
Yes.
that understanding that they need to be able to support.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes it's slower than you would like, of course. And in menopause, I definitely see improvement. There are other women's health areas that aren't improving in such a speedy way, but I think there is momentum building.
great. That's good news. If I can take you back then to your other hat
Yeah.
at Myla, and as being a business owner, um, what would you say has been your biggest learning since setting up?
I think our our real challenge is being spread really thin. And so we're doing everything, we do everything. We're sharing the operational work, and we're able to divide up some of the other sort of business tasks. And I think the learning is a bit about, we can't say yes to everything.
Okay.
So, and we've got to be really targeted and focused on what we invest our time and money in. And I suppose there's been some real learning about saying yes to things, putting our time and our expertise into something, and then thinking, but what did we actually get out of that for Myla? How did Myla build and progress as a result of that? And also a little bit with the financial investment. We are not experienced in marketing or any of these things, and we have to you have to start somewhere. You have to put a bit of money into marketing, advertising, that type of thing. And it hasn't always been very successful. And we've really had to sort of, okay, we've tried something, and I suppose not to feel too downhearted about it either. It's not a skill that in medicine you need. You don't need to kind of find yourself on the floor and pick yourself up every week because something hasn't worked and you've got to try something else. It's a different sort of mindset, and I think it's been really useful having Olivia and myself, so we can say, it's okay, that didn't work, let's regroup, let's look again. But I think that trying to target where we put our energy and our investment, that's a really big learning. So I think a year ago we probably did say yes to absolutely everything. We're wanting to build our business, we want people to know about us, and now we're having to be much more purposeful in what we say yes to, and how does it actually move us forwards.
Absolutely. It's really interesting, really great advice there in terms of that being laser focused, because you could be doing 1,001 things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So the importance of being focused. Also really interesting as well in terms of, yes, as you say, marketing. I mean, it's all about testing and measuring. Yeah, I can see from obviously your GP background, we wouldn't want you testing and measuring on that side, certainly.
Yeah, that kind of little experiments that you can do in business, it's not the way you work in medicine in general.
Absolutely. And if you look further ahead, I mean, you talked a little bit about, how you've grown and you've branched out in terms of territory and who you're reaching out to. If I take you forward perhaps 3, maybe even 5 years, what do you see Myla looking like in 3 to 5 years? How would you like it to look?
I think, again, we would love to continue to develop the corporate offerings that we have. Okay. So it feels as though the skills, the knowledge and the expertise we have are really useful in that environment. And I would love to we're already redefining the kind of package of offers that we have. And I would like to see that grow even further. I would also like to, the way our team works, so we've got these really wonderful expert clinicians that we work with who've got different areas of expertise. And I think at the moment, doing menopause care is pushing a little bit against an open door because it is very much out there. But there are other areas of women's health that I think we could do so much better on for women. So areas of mental health, so premenstrual syndrome, and kind of those sort of cyclical mood disorders that people experience is just one example. Also sexual health, contraception, all these areas. I'd like to be able to have a really clear offer that women who are experiencing issues could come to Myla Health, and we would be a sort of a centre of excellence for those areas.
And that's really interesting, Zoe, as you explained there what you would like to achieve. If I can then throw another question really at you, over that same period, 3 to 5 years, then given what you want to achieve and where you want to take Myla, what do you foresee then as the challenges that you're going to face in those 3 to 5 years?
I think the challenges we will have is about, I think we are coming to a limit, not a limit, but we're meeting resistance in our business experience and understanding. And I think we might need to take on a bit of extra help, partly to take the weight of some of the workload off us, so Olivia and I can focus on developing the business. I think that's probably going to be the biggest challenge for us, is that there's going to be a tipping point where we have to actually have a bit more support to delegate tasks to, so we can develop the business. Because at the and I suppose we also, you know, we're very committed to the NHS, and that's been quite an important part of the way we've done it. But it also does mean we have limited time to invest in the business, and there might just need to be some shift in that. I don't think we will ever leave completely. It's, you know, it is, and all of the doctors we work with do commit their time to the NHS as well. So, but I think there needs to be that kind of shift, and I think it's hard to know when to move on that. You know, when are we large enough to justify paying someone to do some of what we're doing? Possibly not yet, but I don't think it will take long, and I think we'll get to a point where it's hard to expand without that. That's my feeling.
That's really interesting and really clear as well, Zoe. I mean, that, and I can clearly see the challenge there. Wearing two hats is never easy, and particularly when one of those hats is trying to be a business owner and scaling up.
Yeah.
In terms of what gives you inspiration, who or what inspires you, Zoe?
I think, so firstly, I will say my business partner, Olivia, she's an incredible person, and she's sort of, her brain is sharp. She is very instinctive about business. So I feel as though I've learned a lot from just being around her, you know, and she's very inspiring, and she's very purpose driven. She absolutely loves it. She wants to, you know, Myla is our baby and she loves it, you know, she wants to look after and nurture it as much as she can. So I'm very inspired by her, and she gives me a lot of energy to, you know, when things feel hard. In sort of the wider world, it's probably a bit of a cliche, but Michelle Obama is so amazing, and I think it's her authenticity. So she's just managed, she seems to have managed just to be herself through all of these incredible things that she's done, and it really is, I think she's very inspiring. And there's one other person, Arianna Huffington from the Huffington Post, just because she makes well-being a really important thing in business. And I think actually it is sometimes hard to talk about health and, you know, mental health and all those things in a business setting, but she makes it look cool and she makes it look corporate. And I think she does that really, really well. So I really, yeah, I find her very inspiring.
Absolutely. It's really interesting you brought her up. It's I mean, it's been a monumental change, isn't there, probably since pandemic. I mean, I know the move was before, but certainly it seems to have gathered pace.
Definitely.
That importance of mental health, corporations taking it on board and taking it on board more seriously, being kinder. I mean, you see all of these changes happening. Do you see that continuing?
I do, because I think it's not, the whole point is it's not kind of some airy fairy, let's all just, you know, sit around and pick daisies. The point is it makes business sense. And so actually tomorrow I'm doing a talk to a big asset management company on sleep. And when you look at the statistics, the research on having a workforce that sleeps well, it's undeniable. It is so sensible for a business to care about it. So I think for those reasons, I do think it will keep going. I think where people invest their effort and time in making sure their workforce are healthy, are sleeping well, it will pay people back, and that will keep it going, I think. And it's the same as menopause, anything. People want to have a diverse leadership. They want to make sure that they can have women at the top, and investors expect that as well. You know, actually people are wanting this more and more, and it won't happen unless you care about these things, unless you pay attention. So I feel very optimistic. I think it's going to get better and better.
Excellent. I love your optimism as well there, Zoe. I really do. Last question then for today. Is there any news announcements then you want to make? Upcoming events that you and Olivia are about to embark on?
So we've just this week we've launched our most recent clinic base in Kent. So we have a base in Maidstone just opening up at the Kim's Hospital, which is really fantastic. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time going over to Maidstone to network, meet kind of local businesses, give talks, offer education in that area. Next week we are holding a free webinar for anyone that wants to join. You can register for it on Facebook, all about holistic menopause management, and we do that. One of my colleagues, Natasha Galani, and a good friend to the clinic called Karen Newby, who's a nutritionist, will be joining us, and we're going to talk about all different things to do with menopause. So if anyone wants to have a look at that, we do these from time to time as well.
Excellent. Really good stuff. Lots going on. And for anybody that would like to connect with you, how best to reach you?
So we have a website that you can find out all about us. It is mylahealth.co.uk. I'm also on social media. So on Instagram, I'm Zoe Menopause Doctor DR. So Zoe Menopause Doctor. And on LinkedIn. So Zoe Schaedel on LinkedIn.
Okay, Zoe Menopause Doctor. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Zoe, thank you so much for your time and your sharings today. You really are on a mission, and I wish you all the best with it. And I wish Olivia as well all the best as you continue to grow.
Thank you
you
so
very
much for having me.